Anybody have trouble with this one? This should have been fairly easy.
Did anybody use a 2 for the second word?
I used 4.
4. Can we put in the Boolean 6 in front of the automatic 6?
Neapolitan. That's a good question because that could go anywhere a supertonic would go. So I would imagine yes. Have to see. Did anybody try? So if you're in C, spell the Neapolitan. How would you spell your Neapolitan?
D flat
D flat F A. Now you're going. Somebody used Italian, German, French, German. So a little of everything. So we're going to have this in the bass. Got a melody with a raised 4. Everything has to have that in it. So if our Neapolitan. D flat, F, A flat. So a D flat down to a C, F natural to an F sharp. It wouldn't be the first inversion we would be looking for. So second inversion we would. So do we want to leave it? Yeah, probably want to leave it to be Italian 6, and then would double the C. French go to a D, or we wanted to do a German, we'd come down to E flat. With C. And that's pretty much what you should be doing when you're being creative, is going, well, what would happen if I tried this? And then you work it out. Your eye can tell you some, like you notice, this is pretty good voice leading. You can have natural up to an F sharp, from D flat down to a C. This was a little questionable only because it was a repeated bass note, but it seemed to work. This was not the inversion we usually use on the Neapolitan 6. But that's why you have to try it, to say, well, if I did it like this, would that work?
So the Neapolitan 6, is the Neapolitan 6 regardless of its inversion?
No, usually it's, no, well, you would call it Neapolitan.
Right.
So this is the Neapolitan 6/4.
6/4.
6/4, but which I don't ever remember seeing. So we could call this is the Neapolitan 10. Okay, any other?
I think it's called holding. And E, no trouble.
Getting close to our Tuesday noon. Maybe were you going to do something, or are you going to wait? Were you going to do a piano piece or something? Is it the Bach? Can you write down what it is? Give it to me. Is there anybody else?
Tony's hiding.
No? Okay. No, I just get, last time I had somebody come up and say, well, you didn't have me in the program. I said, well, you never gave me this piece of paper with a name of it, what you wanted to do. Oh, but I told you I wanted to do it. I said, yeah, that was 2 months ago. So,
and you did not remember.
Right, page 266. Augmented sixth chords, modulation and other uses. What else can you use it? Augmented sixth chord besides modulation, but it's the modulation we want to look at. So if we have a dominant seventh and we respell it as a German sixth, we can modulate down a half step. That's a hard modulation to do. If we have a German sixth and we respell it as a dominant seventh, we'll modulate up a half step, which is also a very difficult modulation to do. So these are the answers to late Romantics prayers. This is how do we do this difficult half step modulation.
So that's what you're saying, the difficult part is modulating the half step.
Right.
This is what makes it
And if you have a 5-7 of 4, dominant 7th of 4, secondary dominant 7th there, only that one, only the 5-7 of 4, if you respell it as a German 6th, it will take you up a major third, or its harmonic equivalent. And remember that these modulations could be to major or minor. So when you say go up a half step, down a half step, up a major third, for instance, from C we could modulate to C sharp major or C sharp minor or D flat major. If you modulate down a half step, we could go to B major or B minor. If you modulate up a third, we could go from C to E minor or E major.
When we go from 5-7 to a German 6, we're modulating up,
Down.
down. And then German 6 to a 5-7 is up.
There you're modulating up a half step. On page 267, it looks very scary. And that's because he's trying to show you how the spelling works, but he also has to say, well, what if we go to B major instead of B minor? So he has to spell it going to two different keys. So let's look at page 267 and wade through this. At the top of the page, it says, figure 9.1, modulate downward by a diatonic half step from C major to B major or B minor. I'm just trying to show you how to do that. So in C major, your dominant seventh is G, B, D, A. Spell the seventh enharmonic becomes E sharp, G, B, D, E sharp. That's the German sixth in the new key.
Oh, the new key.
And then resolve the augmented sixth interval. So the G goes down a half step to F sharp, the E sharp goes up a half step to F sharp. Complete the tonic 6/4 chord by adding the notes B and D. I know this is very confusing. Look down at figure 9.1. So you're in the key of C, there's our tonic triad, C, E, G. Then it goes to the dominant seventh. Now, it says equal. So first, the second chord is the dominant seventh, the way it would be spelled in the key of C. The second chord after the equal sign is the German sixth. So all he did was change the F to an E sharp.
What about, we need a flat 6.
The flat six is the G. Now, remember that the flat six, that's the new key. So we're going to B or B minor. So then this is what's very confusing. Let's take B, for example. So to spell a German sixth in B, we need a B, that first scale degree. What's the raised for?
E
E
sharp.
Sharp. Flat six.
Is G.
G, we have to make it natural if we're in B major because there's a G sharp here. So G natural. And then flat 3,
D.
D, and we have to make it natural. So the flat 6 is the G. And that G will go down to an F sharp, which is the dominant in the key of B. So what's really confusing now is all the spelling, because in the earlier key of C major, we called this G, B, D, F natural. That was the dominant 7. Now we're respelling it as a German 6.